somebody who is completely redeemable, completely unforgiven. Ah, yes. Yes, all right, here we are. Hello, and welcome to the Kino Corner, where we talk about the very best in movies, news, and trailers from a certain point of view. I am here today with the Gryphon.
Fun.
The Gryphon. Tried to roll my tongue and it didn't work the first time.
It's okay. My mom's jealous of the fact that I can roll my R's too.
Hey, Chakron, I get it, man. We've all been there. Can't run from this one, Gryphon, because you can't get
I
away.
remind you, I have access to fire-related weaponry.
Yes, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. Well, we are here with the Gryphon. We are here to talk about movie crossover, specifically, which came presented with a dream movie crossover that we think could exist, and kind of go into detail about maybe how it would work, what makes it work, maybe little plot synopses here and there. Just kind of a little fun, casual time. And honestly, good
Yeah.
thing too, because even though the main topic is going to be a little shorter, everything leading up to it is going to be longer because Comic Con happened. And we got a
San
bunch,
Diego
well, and not
Comic-Con.
just Comic Con, in general, a lot of stuff happened in the last 2 weeks. So it's worth talking about all the trailer. Well, most of the trailers. There's a few notable absences, mostly because I was already having a lot, but also just all the news that we are going through, and I want to make sure I have everything perfect. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to kick things off with movie news. Now, for those who didn't watch the podcast before, whenever something like this happens, the very first bit of movie news is obviously going to reflect on some pretty sad news recently. I don't like starting on a bad note, but it's mostly out of respect because the tone will shift after the fact, usually in a more positive direction, and it feel more disrespectful otherwise. Recently, we lost two actors. Most of them only knows one, but I know Trey and I are both familiar with both of these. Like Sam Neill and Kaylee Hoddle. Uh, Sam Neill has passed away due to his. He passed away peacefully, um, and I'm thankful that he didn't go in any pain. But it is tragic to go. Well, I didn't say peacefully. He had pneumonia, but it's peaceful compared to the other cause of death here. It's just tragic for Sam Neill because of he had conquered blood cancer. He had basically overcome that only for something else to take his life. And of course, in the case of Kaylee Hoddle, it was a tragedy because well, it was a no way
It,
to say it. Just
it,
only way to do it is to come out and say it. It was a car accident. It was sudden. She was only 19 years old, and it's a true sudden awful tragedy. Um, like both of these actors have built a legacy in their own right. Most know Sam Neill. He's been in film in decades, ever since the 80s and 90s. Like everyone knows him in Jurassic Park, but he's been in other films like Bicentennial Man and The Mountain of Madness, Event Horizon. He's been in a lot of movies and built a legacy for himself as one of the best actors out there. Kaylee Hoddle has been in a few commercials and other things, but recently has built herself up in the as the character Gia in the MonsterVerse, and it's really helped representation for the deaf community and how much she has championed that cause in film. So losing them is a heartbreak. it should be noted that both of these both of these people um, are do have roles on like either major or minor. They like do have roles in the upcoming as a supernova. So suddenly that movie has now become a bittersweet. It's going to be a it's going to have obviously a memorial send off to both. So, but uh, Griffin, you want to say anything before we do our moment of silence?
Um, I feel like you've said most of what can be said. Losing Otto so soon is just heartbreaking.
Then let's go ahead and have ourselves a moment of silence for the pair of them. They will both be missed. Right. Right. I guess I always, uh, to some degree, I hate putting the rest in peace in these, but I know I always want to because everything after this is going to be. I try to space out the news in a way where we kind of build up to the the more positive end to it. So, but it's still going to come across as somewhat of a tone shift, no matter what. Even if so, apologies for that. But in order to move on a little bit with the news, the next major topic, I guess, I suppose major, but mostly just could be good, could be bad, is it has to do with the current merger deal with Paramount and Warner Brothers. For those who don't know, Paramount won the bid, it's more accurate to say Warner Brothers took their deal. It's they weren't just waiting for the highest offer; they got multiple deals, and then Paramount got chose the deal, but or they chose Paramount's. But currently, it is on hold until 2027 due to quite a few lawsuits. So and it's they're coming from all over. A few in the states, a few in the fucking. I think there's some in France. But the long and short of it is like they're all over the place. But the ones that are notable have to do with some specific stuff with high up people involved, and of course the whole this is a monopoly. Like
And people have very big thoughts about monopolies.
yeah, so nothing is going to move forward with this until June of 2027. It's not a guarantee it'll fail. It's not a guarantee it'll go forward, but it is at least on hold until the lawsuits are resolved. So there is a slim chance nothing will come of this and the merger will be canceled. And Warner Brothers will just have to face another bankruptcy. And I know we might be still be having this conversation if Netflix had won, but Netflix is a smaller and less established entity than Paramount. So I think that there would be less to do. So basically, if this fails, like they can't have monopoly, then either Warner Brothers is going to have to eat a bankruptcy or take the less money deal from a smaller company, i.e., Netflix, to just stay afloat. Like, but we're it's going to be interesting to kind of keep an eye on this one. What do you think? Do you think
So
Paramount should keep Warner Brothers or
I have no strong thoughts about this merger. I kind of don't want it to happen.
fair enough? All right. Now, next piece of news. Okay. Also, I don't have a lot to say about this one. I think I got all my jokes aside when I did this. Talked about the initial post review a few weeks ago about the new God of War series. The only real update is the main actor who plays Kratos. He basically suffered an injury on set. I forget if he tore a muscle, and I don't remember which muscle he tore, but it's going basically production's on hold here. Um, I'm a little sad about this. I have my thoughts about God of War. Like it, I think the guy playing Kratos looks fine, even though he's doing his that fucking the pose of that fucking meme, like the lady who's basically like holding her hands to her knees and squinting. It's like, what is that? Like he's basically just doing that pose in this picture. I can't unsee it. You can't either. But
I can't unsee it without hearing the Tim Allen noise. Oh,
and I also I'm sorry, I do not like. I'm sure this kid is a fine child actor. I put this more on both the costume department and whoever decided not to shave this kid. He doesn't look like Atreus. Look, I know you have to be as accurate as possible. It is never going to be 1-to-1, but like his clothes are so damn baggy, and the fact that he has the full head of hair and he has such a baby face, he doesn't look like Atreus' age in the game. He doesn't look like a young Norse warrior trained by a Greek. He looks like a freaking 4-year-old that Kratos is like, you're my son now, boy. Pick up bow. Which isn't exactly what happened. But again, that's my thoughts. My thoughts on
what if they
that.
shave his head later?
But even then, like I'm a little sad that the production has stopped because I do like the new God of War games, and I obviously want this to be good. So any delay is only going to be bad for the production. It's only good, even if it's caused by an accident on set. Any delay is just going to hurt the production in the long term. Will this end up being good? Who knows? I I I hope it's good. But yeah, this picture is more or less all we have for it. What are your thoughts, Gryphon?
I hope it's good for you. I know less about God of War.
Great game, great game. Buy a physical copy while you can. Um,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's a whole other podcast. Anyway, but the next piece of news to talk about this one, okay, I have a lot to say about the trailers. The news, there's a lot of news. I don't have a lot to say about it because a lot of it's just okay. And this is one of those instances where Peter Jackson basically said the next film he wants to do is a sequel to the Tintin movie he made with Steven Spielberg.
I
Okay,
still haven't seen the first one.
it's good. Like I again, I'm happy he wants to make it. I just don't have any strong feelings about that movie either way. I mean, maybe I need to rewatch it. I was just in the wrong mindset. It didn't wow me. I kind of just liked it. I know that does makes it sound bad. It was just like it was all right. So him just, but I guess it's weird because Peter Jackson just has these strong feelings about it. Just like, all right, what are you gonna do next? Tintin. What? Yeah, I'm gonna make Tintin again. Tintin was awesome. Oh,
It's my hyperfixation at the moment.
yeah. Honestly, that's probably all it is. he's he's probably like reading fucking Boxcar Children or some shit and thinking about old school like cartoons and stories he grew up with, and just like, I made a Tintin movie. Let's do another one. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, yeah, look, it's probably gonna be good. Like, I get the last Tintin movie wasn't bad. It just didn't wow me when I watched it. So, but hey, it's like after he does this stuff with the Hobbit, Tintin will save cinema. Maybe, who knows? It's just
Eh,
I don't know. I think it's just in general, Tintin is a franchise that if Peter Jackson didn't make these movies, would have just
Wait a second.
become forgotten about. What are you looking up? Adventures of Tintin?
No, no, I'm looking up Peter Jackson's recent work.
Yeah. But like I feel
Oh
that
right, that 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 Hunt for Gollum movie that I forgot about.
yeah, yeah, we after his stuff there, he's going to Tintin. Okay, so part of it is probably he's done so much stuff Lord of the Rings, he wants to do just something different. And I guess to be fair, Tintin is like so far on the opposite end of the spectrum of Lord of the Rings. It's like something fresh. So saying that out loud, I'm sure that's also a factor, and like subconsciously is what's drawing him to it.
And if that is so, fair enough.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I don't know. I guess from an onlooker's perspective, Tintin to me is a franchise that if Peter Jackson didn't make these movies, I don't know if people would remember it enough to look back on. You know,
Mm.
and I'm not saying those books were bad. I'm not saying it's a bad franchise. I just and I may well be wrong, but I just don't recall it having ever seeing evidence of it having this such a broad cultural appeal to last. And honestly, the biggest reference we got to things like the Hardy Boys and Tintin and all these like old adventure and detective stories from that era has come into other stories like honestly when they're parodied by South Park or shows like Venture Brothers that I think has appealed more to people. So I don't know. Well, we'll see how committed he is. Obviously, production hasn't started yet. He's just like, we're doing it. So I'm pretty sure after he announced it, he basically in the meeting phase with Steven Spielberg, just like, all right, what are we gonna do about this? So I would be surprised if they don't technically have writers yet. They just have money and just like, I really want to do it.
But how are we going to do it? Mm.
We're going to rob a train.
Again?
It it worked for E.T. It'll work for Tintin.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Your name brings in a decent amount of people to the theaters. Okay.
Damn right it does. Anyway, now next piece of news. Okay, this one I actually do have some things to say about, and it makes me very happy. So Toei, the company that basically makes several masked heroes, Sentai and Ultraman and Kamen Rider, Garo and Gavin and all these others. Uh, for they announced that Netflix will get the exclusive distribution rights for the entire Kamen Rider library. So, I know some people are like, "Oh, that's just a no, no. Y'all don't understand. This is as big as like Godzilla movies coming to Blu-ray for the first time in the early 2000s, or DVD and Blu-ray for the first time in the early 2000s. Because for decades, fans had to like pirate and just go through all these other things and source straight from Japan most of these shows, rely on fan subs, which they then struck down. This is probably why several years ago things were struck down because deals between Shout Factory and Netflix were in the works. So there's a lot of old Kamen Rider series that a lot of people still haven't seen. And this is, but if this is going on the Netflix library, this is just now everyone can watch it. Don't. It is exclusive distribution, so I don't know what this means for Shout Factory. what is the common ride? Well, it's like somebody who rides a motorcycle, but they're pretty common. I think that as you see, they've been going for like 50 years now. Pretty freaking common.
He, he's like a motorcycle riding bug man.
Yeah. You see the antenna? That means they're like beetles and bugs. So yeah, I don't know what this means for Shout Factory, but like all these are this is gonna be a soon thing. I think September. I don't remember the day. I want to say 17th. That's a number I saw recently for something. But it's in September that all of these will be coming to Netflix. I'm not sure if it's going to be in waves or an all at once type of thing. Just for the hype, I would not be surprised if this is in waves, and they're gonna like that seems like something Netflix would do, like every week do a new series or something, because there's a lot. There's a lot of Common Rider. I know people nowadays are um they're I, I think honestly I think the reason it's just Common Rider and nothing else is a test, because Shout Factory, I know they do sell Super Sentai and DVDs, and they make their money. It's just not as big of a profit as they would want. So, but they want to get like some revenue, like ad revenue or otherwise, from people watching their stuff. So this is likely to see if people would watch Kamen Rider on streaming. But there's a cultural angle to this that I don't know if it'll work. I hope it does. We're so ingrained in modern culture to like binge things, and we're used to things that only have like 8 to 10 episodes, like 8 to 12 episodes that are like 45 minutes to an hour long. Kamen Rider episodes are like 20 minutes a piece, and a season of them will run anywhere from 35 to 45 episodes, unless you're Decade. But it's going to be an experiment. I don't know the reception. I know a lot of Kamen Rider fans are going to watch it. Like their week one numbers for this, so super bingeable. Like it's super bingeable, but like I just don't know if the modern audiences will grasp it at. And that's why I think like I try to get in the brain of the people who make this deal. Like I know Toei is kind of following through because Toho, the people who made Godzilla, obviously, they started the World of Godzilla initiative to make Godzilla more open to the world. That's why, like, whenever there's a release of a new Godzilla movie, they the one of the things of that is a push for a simultaneous global release. Prior, like around the time of Shin Godzilla, something would release in Japan and it wouldn't release to other countries till a year later, and that kind of killed hype. It kills hype. It ruins marketing cycles. It becomes hard to distribute because you have to figure out. So being able to release on a global market as close to simultaneously as possible just helps the franchise. So I think they're doing this for the global market, just to kind of gauge, like, do people want to binge all of our old stuff? Are people interested? And specifically, who's interested? Because I'm sure Netflix has data on like which countries, which regions watch what. So they'd probably get that data. So is this like so like the only way that makes sense for me is like Toei gets to see how much like people are actually watching their stuff, and then potentially continue this deal for their other franchises like Super Sentai, Garo, Metal Heroes, like Space Sheriff, uh, and all the other unique one-offs. But and Netflix, of course, I think. I'm sorry, I'm like rambling. I know I brought you on for a discussion. I'm like rambling on this one, Griffin. I'm sorry.
I mean, ramble away. You're the Common Writer expert, not me.
But I think Netflix in this case, they because they recently had the deal with Letterboxd and they failed the deal with WB. I think I'm getting the vibe from Netflix that their new strategy is going to be to acquire a lot of these like distribution rights to a lot of like super niche franchises. Maybe going like the Japan angle because I also noticed more and more anime on Netflix just to kind of so instead of just acquiring major studios, they're kind of going towards the will of the people and leaning heavily on towards what's popular for them, which would be horror, a little bit of like action, and a lot of anime. Like kind of getting their fingers in everything. Because I also know with the fact that the One Piece live action wasn't terrible, they got a lot of goodwill from a lot of people for that. So there's a lot of things in down the pipe for Netflix as well. So I think Netflix is basically playing chess with franchises and just trying to like get as many little things that would have like some niche but potentially broad appeal to just increase their numbers and maybe willing to take a hit or two every once in a while. I don't know. It's hard to see what Netflix's goal here is, but I think I'm close with that. But no matter what Netflix's goal is, I do think Toei's goal was to test the market and see what this broad appeal is. I do obviously recommend to watch any Kamen Rider series you see on Netflix. Um, I did like a brief intro to Super Sentai. One day I may do one for Kamen Rider. Just short recommendations. If you don't are into like goofy shit, watch the stuff in the Heisei era. So anything in the timeline from Kuga to O's. Fours is freaking weird, but and those were I know those words mean nothing to you, but there's like 12 writers in the sequence that are all generally pretty solid and more focused on drama than cartoony action that are probably good gateways to our for people in my age group to kind of get the vibe of what these series are like. Uh, yeah, I'm excited. I know I'm gonna right now. I don't have my Netflix subscription, but I'm going to renew it. I want like here like short like soon once I have money. But yeah.
Money.
All right, now next piece of news. Okay, I there technically is a lot relating to this, and a lot of it's rumors, but there is going to be an X-Men reboot.
About Flurkin time.
That is confirmed. We have rumors of who's going to play what. Like the big rumor right now is Adam Driver is going to play probably Mr. Sinister. But I do,
Honestly,
but I want to stress. Do what?
I was just to say, honestly, Mr. Sinister makes a lot more sense than that Magneto rumor.
Yeah, I agree. But I do want to stress, even like it's technically not confirmed Adam Driver's in it. It's just likely, and we don't know what he'd be playing. So everything there, it's a rumor. Don't treat it as fact. Don't like look into it that way. It's a rumor. The only until we hear more, which given Comic Con and the idea that they wanted to reveal some stuff around Hall H but had to push some stuff back, we may be getting a reveal in the very near future, like maybe as early as in the next podcast. So
I mean, shoot, what's that? What's that one expo's name? Oh, D23.
that's true. See, it might be a D23. Like they might be saving this stuff for D23 later in the year. because it's going to be a little different than the MCU and kind of be its own thing. I would not be surprised. But yeah, there's going to be new X-Men. If I were to cast anybody, I know in the last podcast I talked briefly about how I watched the Young Washington. After seeing that, the actor who played Washington in that, I thought I was like, you know what? That guy, he plays a good leader. He'd be a good Cyclops. I generally like his performance in Young Washington, and I joked about just. Which side note, if you didn't catch what I said last time, Young Washington is good. They'll be aware like it's like 99% just historical documentation about America and this was great man, and about 1% America. So be ready for that. But no, I'm excited, of course, for an X-Men reboot. And will it be connected to the MCU?
Probably.
Probably. The MCU is never gonna die. It's gonna stay on life support. I don't know. Especially with some of the other news coming out of it, that is hopeful. Like how Ryan Gosling is playing Ghost Rider.
Now that was a surprise.
Honestly, no, I see it. People are asking like which Ghost Rider he's gonna be, Johnny Blaze or who's. I could see either. I don't know enough about Ghost Rider lore. I look what Johnny Blaze looks like, and he honestly most comic iterations of Johnny Blaze already look like a young Ryan Gosling, so they got a good choice here.
Yeah, he looks like he could pull off a Matthew McConaughey like Daredevil performer,
And that might
and
be
also a bounty hunter who serves the devil.
yeah.
Which speaking of which, are we also getting Sacha Baron Cohen back as Mephisto?
It's guaranteed. If this is spun to tie in with the MCU, it's almost guaranteed. Like Sacha Baron Cohen will come back, and oh, I hope that does him more justice than Ironheart. I'm not shy about the fact that I did not care for the ending of Ironheart.
It's even worse that we still don't have any concrete announcements that there's going to be a continuation of that.
Nope, there's not. I think that's a side effect of how much things had to change for Doomsday, and why I was thinking that I think we're going to get a touch up. We might get a reference to it in Doomsday, and it might have to be like a plot point in Secret War. But it's either going to be that, or it's going to be just its own separate thing after. That I don't know. The Young Avengers and all that. But speaking of Avengers, we'll get to that in a bit later on when we talk about trailers. Next piece of news here. Also from Comic Con, we learned that there is going to be Black Panther 3. Oh my gosh, Angel made it. So he's just in time to see Gryphon. Do you see the screen? Well, hey, is Black Panther 3 out yet?
No.
For those who don't,
I don't even think it started filming yet. It will come out when it comes out.
For those who don't know, ever since the first Black Panther, I don't know why I started doing this, but I just kind of randomly, like, for the weeks leading up to it, would just whenever we were just like out and about, I would just lean over to Griffin and be like, "Hey, is Black Panther out yet?" Until the point where it annoyed him, and then I stopped. And then Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever was announced, and I picked it right back up. And then I got to do it again for Eyes of Wakanda. And then
which you also watch.
as soon, like the second I got this announcement, like, I sent it to him in all caps. Is Black Panther 3 out yet?
So anyway, they finally recast T'Challa, kind of.
No, well, no, it okay. They didn't recast T'Challa. It's basically his son, and they got the guy from uh, Alien Romulus who played the android. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'll
Yep.
have,
Andy.
yeah,
David Johnson.
that's the guy they got, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's good because that guy is a great actor. Like, if you've seen Alien Romulus, like, he was able to, like, narrow down two extremes with the character he had to play. Great freaking movie. Great freaking movie. Um, so it's going to be T'Challa's son, and I don't want to be that guy, but I think they're doing this because Wakanda Forever didn't exactly win a lot of people over. I'm not saying it was bad, but I know the public reception of it, and I have my own thoughts on it. I personally think, like, my stance on the whole thing is I was fine with Shuri being Black Panther. The movie should have taken time to, like, all right, why is Shuri worthy of being Black Panther? We got some of it, not enough in my opinion. It just more than I thought we were gonna get, but still less than what was needed. Really show off, like, why this character does it, like. But I also don't blame that movie either, because what they had to do and why they had to do it given other circumstances at the time were so damn sudden, they literally drew the short end of the stick. So I'm not going to blame Wakanda Forever due to other circumstances that prior to that film being made. That's not fair to the filmmakers, that's not fair to the actors, that's not fair to the writer, and that's certainly not fair to the late Chadwick Boseman. But I just know how it was portrayed, what people are likely just want from this. Um, because even me, like, I do believe the best path forward, given what was already established in the MCU, I still think it would have been more fitting if the love interest from Black Panther took the mantle and kind of, like, so you could still have that outsider thing instead of just like, but you're a girl. It's more about, but you're not of royal blood. So it's kind of a continuation of the themes from the first one. Yeah, you could have the sexism in there, but make it less prominent. I think that would have worked better. And as for Shuri, yes, she wasn't really present prior, but the what little I knew about her, just as this tech genius who fought with repulsor cannons from range, I just, all I could think of is, man, maybe she should have been fucking Ironheart and wanted, and the whole series was about her, like, learning to take up the legacy of Iron Man, since that's a kind of a legacy that works for her as opposed to the Black Panther one. I don't know. Would it have deleted Riri Williams? Yes. Would
Yeah.
people have been mad about it? Probably. Would it
Yes.
have made sense within the story they were telling specifically in the MCU? Yeah, probably.
No.
But who knows? Like I said, I'm not gonna judge the move Black Panther 2 based off of what I wanted it to be. I'm gonna judge it for what it is, and I think it was. I just know that it didn't go through a lot well with a lot of fans, so I think Black Panther 3 is going to be just a great course correction. I know that sounds so fucked up to say, and okay, I do want to be mad about something. Be mad about it, dude. Like I do think Black Panther 3 is just for some people a course correction to get some like a male Black Panther or just the son of T'Challa. For all we know, Black Panther 3 is the final lead up to Young Avengers. But considering who they have to play T'Challa, they already are kind of aging past some of the Young Avengers, so oh, they're getting older too. Gosh. But there's a lot of gray area here. Eh, I don't know what's if it's gonna end up being good, if it's gonna end up being bad.
Again, we're kind of in the same boat as the Ghost Rider announcement. We don't know enough yet.
Oh yeah, here's the thing. With the Ghost Rider announcement, you're talking, hey, Ryan Gosling wanted him to be Ghost Rider, just kind of introduced to the series. There was a lot of like, there's a little more like, okay, you got, I see what you're trying to do. You get an actor that looks the part to play the part, and like get him into the MCU. We all get it. Yeah, no, it's great. Good job. I'm sitting with happy for that. With this announcement, it's at first you question it, but then you're like, like the realization of either they're gonna double down on Shuri or they're trying to course correct, and then when you see they cast the son of T'Challa, they're course correcting. That tells me that they have a plan and they just want a way to get Black Panther on Secret War. That's what this says to me because I imagine that Ghost Rider and Black Panther are going to be the movies right before Secret War.
After.
They're after? When is
Based on
Secret
my understanding.
Wait, when is Secret War coming out? Oh no, I have to look this up too. Hold on a second.
I'm looking that up too. Next year.
Huh?
Yep, we're doing this Pirates 2 and 3 style. Or Two Towers Return of the King style. Pick your poison.
Maybe his sister's a new villain or something. I don't know. So wait, there's no Marvel movies between Doomsday and Secret War.
Nope.
Huh?
What's the problem?
We're just jumping right into it. Okay. You know what? We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. Anyway, I paid the 3. It's like sure, I get like at the very least I get to continue to bug Gryphon about it. Small victories, I suppose.
And I will continue to tiredly give you the same answer up until release date.
So I got a good 2 years of this. Are you ready?
No.
Anyway, let's talk about some trailers. Ready to talk about some trailers, buddy?
Oh boy.
Oh boy, let's talk about trailers. The first was a short
Sure.
teaser. First was a short teaser of the sequel to The Batman. Robert Pattinson Batman, maybe Secret War will introduce the characters and they will get their movies afterward. I'll talk about.
Batman.
I'm gonna pause on the Marvel talk for a second because we are gonna talk about a Marvel trailer at the end here. But yeah, for now, sequel to the Batman. We didn't get much in the teaser, but considering this image and a lot of just snow in the teaser, um, yeah, people are basically saying, "Oh, so Mr. Freeze," which
We don't know. Stop trying to figure out the movie until we get the details.
look,
Otherwise, you're going to make yourself look like a fool.
look, I agree. I agree. But there are some symbols within the Batman mythology that, like, if you use them and don't lead to the logical conclusion, it's going to leave people more confused. It'd be like if you show, imagine if at the end of the Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, or the Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, I should say, when you saw the playing card for Joker, imagine if that didn't lead to the Joker. So if you see Batman and there's a lot of ice around, then you can't be upset that people are going to assume Mr. Freeze. And if it was just snowing in the teaser, I would say I would also be strongly on the let's wait and see. But then we have this image with Batman and ice. I'm just like, I guess I'll wait and see. But it's probably Mr. Freeze.
Don't get me wrong. I want it to be Mr. Freeze. And I'll get into more thoughts about this as soon as we talk about a certain other trailer that came out. Just dandruff.
Just dandruff. But honestly, I was hoping there wouldn't be an escalation. Like, okay, so what I mean by that is we have another trailer coming out for that is related to Batman that's going to take place in the current DCEU, and this Batman trilogy is its own side story. The first one, of course, had our pets Batman, it had the Penguin, it had Catwoman, it had the Riddler. It had more low key villains, so things were very grounded, and it had more of a detective noir feel to it. So I want the sequel to kind of expand and continue that. Like I'm not trying to like I considering other subtle hints in the trailer, extended material, and even in the movie itself. I I feel like a penultimate villain for that franchise would have been someone like Joker because that's not like a major supervillain. Well, he is, but it's not one that you have to go all out like other villains that require like big bombastic effects or anything like that. And you could still kind of like have the conclusion just Batman and Bruce Wayne figuring out like what is his deal, what is he doing? I need to get in the head of this guy if I'm going to figure him out. That is like a big culmination of three movies. Like you could do a gradual escalation while still keeping a noir detective feel to it. And if this is Mr. Freeze, I feel that's going to be such an escalation that it may. I want this to be good. I want this to be good, just like with everything. But I worry with. I would be saying the same thing if it's Mr. Freeze, another villain we'll talk about later. I'd be saying the same thing with Killer Croc. I'd be saying the same thing with fucking Firefly. If this was any like supervillain that would require like bombastic effects or just be tied with like these huge action set pieces, it would just feel like more of an escalation of the series than what the first movie like let us to like expect. Does that make sense?
It does.
So,
but but between the first movie and the Planet of the Apes trilogy he did, I have full trust in Matt Reeves.
I do too. Like I just if they do a Mr. Freeze thing, I do sincerely hope they do the Batman animated series back uh backstory that basically became new canon. Um, Side note for those who don't know, the first iterations of Mr. Freeze were just a diamond thief, and all the stuff about Nora were basically came later. Batman the Animated Series had a larger impact on Batman lore than we like to realize. But yeah, so I hope it's that backstory. That's the best. If this is Mr. Freeze, if the best bet for this to like match the tone is to be that more nuanced, just Victor Freeze, Nora Freeze storyline, and no Arnold Schwarzenegger ice puns. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Oh, come on. Can't we just have one?
Yeah, you can have one in passing, but like I don't know. I
I mean,
was
Catwoman got a cat pun.
Yeah, I'm also a little disappointed because I was really hoping that like the if they were to do a trilogy of these, that the ultimate lead up would be to one of my favorite just like villains in the Batman mythos, the Court of Owls, because it's like never touched on, and like but all the stories that revolve around the Court of Owls are like really freaking good and intriguing. And it fits so well considering the whole Court of Owls is basically like an Illuminati-esque society with all the rich folks in Gotham who make these talent super soldiers to take care of things when things become too sick or too dire. I don't know. But if we're just doing. But if this is Mr. Freeze, I'm just like, oh, all right.
Hmm.
It's hard to explain. Anyway, I don't want to linger too much on this. Next trailer to talk about here. Yay! There was a new Coyote vs. Acme trailer. I, t- I taw, pretty tad. I didn't pay you to take you taw. I paid you to taw. That's still my
John
favorite exchange in the new trailer, dude.
John Cena is going to steal the show.
Oh, absolutely. I
I just wish we could see him.
yeah, I get it. The you can't see me joke, but you know the I do like this trailer a lot. It gives us a clearer view about like what's happening in the overall story. Like the last trailer we got gave the vibe it was just going to be a court case, kinda like. But now with this one, it is going to be mostly a court case. But the big like conflict is the higher ups at Acme trying to stop everything from behind the scenes because it's all like, guys, he actually has a case. We need to stop this as cartoonishly as possible.
And boy, do they try.
I mean, you put John Cena and Foghorn Leghorn together, and what do you get?
Something loony. Eh?
I'm still excited for this. We still got to get our tickets for this, which I know we're seeing a certain Potaman movie later this week. But no, this was good. I'm just happy for the clarification that in this new trailer we get a vibe of just how the movie is going to be structured. And now that I see it, I'm getting Looney Tunes back in action vibes, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Me too.
Yeah.
If, if you take anything away from this, let it be that Looney Tunes back in action is underrated and you should watch it.
Yes. Who would win in a fight, Foghorn Cena or John Leghorn?
Uh,
Answer the question, Gryphon.
I don't know.
We'll circle back to that. Anyway, the next trailer.
Okay.
Oh, the next trailer is for a movie called Ebenezer. It is a return of Johnny Depp to the big screen. And just like with a few of the announcements, I watched this trailer, and my ultimate takeaway was, okay.
My ultimate takeaway is, wait, this isn't a Tim Burton movie?
No, there's the buildings are too uniform.
That's true. Also, I just want to bring up something else. That the opening caption said, "He brought us Jack Sparrow." There should be a captain in there somewhere.
True.
But all jokes aside, this looks great. Honestly, it's good to see Johnny Depp back in movies.
So
I don't know if he's gonna nail this role, but he's gonna do a good job of it in
I'm,
his own way.
and this might be me, that I am sold on everything on this movie except for Ebenezer. For the most part, like again, whenever he's like half the time it's fine when he's basically being the angry old man, but it's just those few scenes where he's basically just being all spry and turning around, throwing snowballs at people, and then jumping around all giddy, and then just like, oh, I didn't do anything. It just that doesn't feel like an Ebenezer thing. I don't think Ebenezer would care enough. I think he would just bah humbug, and you know.
I mean, then again, look at the mountains of Christmas Carol adaptations we've gotten.
True, and I know this is going to be extra confusing considering what I just said, but I, well, I, I'm going to be immediately comparing this to Spirited when I like Spirited, Muppet Christmas Carol, old school Christmas Carol movies. I'm going to be comparing it to those. Like if this insists on being funny and lighthearted, I'm going to be comparing it to Muppet Christmas Carol and Spirited. If this is intent on being serious, I'm going to compare it to the more serious adaptations of like the 70s and 60s. Like because this is a story that we have adapted dozens of times. Everyone knows the story of A Christmas Carol by so it's you got to give me something to stand on your own, and it's just is is Captain Jack Sparrow as Ebenezer Scrooge enough? I guess is my concern.
Well, this is just the first trailer for it.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're hiding the looks of the other ghosts. Like we got a very short glimpse uh
Of the
of
Ghost of
the
Christmas Past.
yeah, and in fact, I'm gonna look to confirm one thing about that. Is I'll find it. But if I recall from the adaptation, there it is. It it looks very extra ghostly. There's a lot of adaptations of the Ghost of Christmas Past, and most of them have this kind of ethereal glow to it because that's how it's described in the book. One of the more unique ones is remember the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol?
I've only seen it a handful of times, but I remember.
Remember how the ghost was basically a candle?
Yep.
Like the if we were going to be as accurate to the book as possible, the perfect adaptation would be somewhere between that candle and the child we got him up at Christmas Carol. And I know that sounds weird, but
Hmm. Well, I mean, the although the shot we do get of the ghost kind of looks like something straight out of a horror movie.
right? It's like it's
So that tells me that maybe they are hiding some of the more spooky stuff this movie's gonna pull off.
yeah. If they go, it's funny if messed up if it was a twist in the original to have an Ebenezer was right kind of twist. And okay, yeah, if they're just straight up twisting the story and Ebenezer was just completely right in his claims, and they're just he corrupts the ghost. I mean, I'd be down for a unique story like that.
It would be different.
Like I said, we nothing in the trailer led me to believe this is anything more than another telling of Christmas story, but with Johnny Depp as Ebenezer, who again half the time he looks and acts perfectly fine. The other half the time he's just I don't know too much energy. And again, I know it sounds weird considering one of my favorite adaptations of the story is Spirited, but that was also a musical and really fucked with the story in a very deep and profound way without like so. Eh, it we'll see. I do want to wait and see another trailer for this before I pass any strict judgment. And if the ghosts are going to be more horror coded, that there is some imagery tied to the Ghost of Christmas Present that is excruciatingly fucked up. Yeah, we'll see what happens if we get any more trailers. Yeah. The next one to talk about. Oh, this one I saw. I think the actual trailer it was released publicly just before the last episode podcast. We saw it in theaters and we saw a certain movie which we'll get to. But it's another biopic about Sylvester Stallone called I Am Rocky. Specifically, this is about the creation of the movie Rocky, how Sylvester Stallone wrote it and did everything in his power to be the star on it, and learning basically the difficulties of being an actor and like the deals he had to go through and just all the trials and tribulations of basically him making a movie from no background. And honestly, it looks really freaking good. Like, like my big problem with modern biopics is I think they're too broad. Like they tell too much story of a person's life, where we're like oh we're starting them off as kids, and then like 20 minutes later they're teenagers, and then 20 minutes later they're adults. And it just there's so much of their life we have to freaking speed through. It's just there's less emotional weight than what we I feel we should be feeling. But with I Am Rocky, it's like no, we're gonna tell the story of the creation of this one movie because this kind of tells the gist of how he started his career without going into the stuff that happened later. And I think that extra that more tight focus is really gonna like help this biopic in the long run. At least in my opinion. What do you think, Gryphon?
I, I think this should open the door to more biopics about certain movies that were made because, oh boy, um, there you read about some movie productions and you just think, wow, and they still got the movie made. And Rocky was certainly one of those films.
Yeah.
It, it's a miracle. It was as big then as it is still now. Also, this is probably going to sound like a weird praise, but just stick with me for a second. I don't know who the actor is that is currently playing Stallone, but at the same time, I feel like that kind of works in this movie's favor because I don't see an actor, I just see Stallone.
So I can tell you the actor's name um is Anthony Ippolito. He He doesn't have an extensive film history, but he actually, interestingly, he does have a history of playing other um, famous people. He was in a TV miniseries called The Offer, where he played Al Pacino.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
and he's young enough where he played a child in the movie Pixels.
Oh,
Yeah, he doesn't look that young in this trailer, does he? He's
no.
yeah, this guy is like 20, like 22, 23 or some shit.
Let's see. 26.
26, yeah. So yeah, he would have been like 14, like a young kid with in Pixels, but yeah, like that's generally his history. Just a few spots in some kid shows, and then recently he played like just a few specific people played Al Pacino, and I think this is meant to be his breakout. Just let's see what this guy could do in a major production.
Well, here's hoping.
You're hoping because yeah, I implore anyone and everyone to watch this trailer because it looks good. Like I
I'm
wonder.
probably gonna go see it.
Yeah, yeah, you would go see it. You nerd. No, okay.
I like the Rocky movies and the Creed movies.
You would. No, I want to see it too. Like this does look like a really good biopic, and especially because the guy just looks like a young Sylvester Stallone.
Hell, he sounds like him.
Yeah. All right, let's see the next movie we have here to talk about. This is one I know caught you a little off guard and got you confused. Digger.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw the first trailer for this movie,
Oh, I
where it
did.
was basically a
The dancing.
greatest hits of Tom Cruise reel, followed by, oh yeah, there's this new movie he's in called Digger. What's it about? Don't know. This tells me nothing. So now that we have an actual trailer for this movie, I'm still kind of lost. You guys are throwing so much at me, and I can't comprehend a lot of it.
Listen, there's a lot going on. All you need to know is he's trying to drill for oil. Drill, baby, drill. He's gonna save the world by drilling for oil and making money, probably. I maybe I don't fucking know. I'm with you. Like this is such a weird, surreal trailer. I
Um, I thought John Goodman was funny in it.
oh yeah, no, John Goodman's the president.
You just know that there are certain groups of people who are going to see this movie and be like, "Wait, is this about us?"
No, they don't have that much self awareness. But
True.
but okay. Speaking as objectively as I can, this movie looks weird. I there's no way around it.
Nope.
I don't know if I would see it, and I love weird shit, but this is like the type of like surreal weird shit that is just trying to just be. This is the same type of just surreal imagery you get to something like fucking Men Who Stare at Goats. If you've
So,
seen
do you
the,
know, has Tom Cruise had many comedy roles?
I believe so. I swear he has. Let's see. Uh, if you honestly, I would count some of the later Mission Impossibles. see. Oh, here we go. Rock of Ages. Tropic Rock of Ages. He was in Tropic Thunder. Let's see. He was in Austin Powers.
Oh yeah.
But he hasn't been the lead in things something that was a pure comedy. This is going to be new territory to him. He's been present in comedies, but like you see, it's usually like he is a side character. He's never been like fully like the main guy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, he seems to be owning it.
Yeah.
Going all kinds of loony toony.
You're all kinds of loony toony.
Who told you?
You did. The other day. I was there.
I'm gonna have to have a talk with me later.
Yep. No, I'll be honest. Unless you have something to say, I don't have a lot to say about this one. Just it looks weird.
Yeah, that's really all that can be said right now. It looks weird.
Tom Cruise and John Goodman drill for oil and solve a
Hijinks
crisis.
ensue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, okay. I do have more to say about. Definitely have more to say about this one. This is a trailer for a show coming on Apple TV called Neuromancer. Um,
Oh, good, because I don't have very much to say about it.
so it looks good. I will say this, but it's based off of a book from the when I looked it up, it was from the 80s, I believe. But it's an old sci-fi book. Basically, the thing of those old cyberpunk dystopias, like something like Ready Player One, Cyberpunk 2099, The Matrix, Ghost. So I was actually joking with this with Zero earlier, but the what this looks good. I don't want to discount that or discredit it or come across as disingenuous when I say that. This looks good. It looks well acted. Cinematography looks great. The imagery is awesome. It looks like a story I may actually watch if it wasn't on Apple TV. But the reaction to the trailer, a lot of people are saying like, finally we have our next great sci-fi franchise. It's gonna like break the internet. This is gonna be the next. I've seriously seen people say this is gonna be like the next Matrix or something, and I'm like,
really?
look, Ghost in the Matrix 2099 is not gonna be the net. Because when you watch the trailer, there is a lot of visual imagery that makes you think of other franchises. And part of the problem is this setting has now been done by things that are so prominent and just like so successful in the realm of pop culture that this thing has to do something different. And I think, for God's sakes, it pulls stuff from Ghost in the Shell because there's one character that basically has the same eye thing as that old dude from Ghost in the Shell. It pulls up the Matrix because they're fucking jacking it. There's just little things that people are going to compare to these other sci-fi franchises, and I see this and I think, man, I feel like it's using the specific imagery of these other franchises without actually like standing on its own 2 feet. And if this is a story that can't, and when you read the synopses, may actually be the case, it I just question: is this going to be like the next game breaker some people think it's going to be? Because when I see this trailer, I think, oh, this looks good. That's all I think when I see this trailer. It looks good. I just I'm not. I think you're lying to yourself if you see this trailer and you're expecting like the next great sci-fi cyberpunk action thriller. Like it is pulling imagery and plot points that we have seen before in other famous like sci-fi action things. So I don't know. I don't know. I just had to get that off my chest but the trailer does look really good.
I mean, yeah, the trailer looks nice. I just gotta be honest, I don't know if I'm really into the cyberpunk genre.
Well, that's the other thing. I don't think a lot of people are that they
It,
like to think. I mean,
it's kind of a niche thing.
yeah,
Let's be honest here. I mean, the Blade Runner sequel was a big film, but not that big.
look, everything's a niche. It's just the whole thing with pop culture is you have to learn to measure like what niche is going to be the big niche for a few years. And if
I'd argue that's kind of a problem certain movies that have come out in the summer have had.
so, I am admittedly biased when I say this about what my thing of thought is on that. So I don't think so. With the recent Tron movie not doing as well as anticipated, with Running Man only from what I understand, Running Man just kind of made its money back and nothing more. And the only
Hmm.
sci-fi movie that really did well was Project Hail Mary, and then you have other movies that are doing surprisingly well and making their money that studios are now leading into. I think we're going into an age where we're not going to be going into like big budget sci-fi action films like this. The Neuromancer is just going to be like, that was good anyway. I think the big things in the future, also considering just how many trailers of this subject is coming out, is going to be a mix of video game adaptations and just monster movies.
I do love me some monster movies.
Again, there's a lot of heavy bias when I say that, but I say that also aware that there's literally a Dinosaurs in the Wild West movie coming out, Edge of Oak Street's coming out, two Godzilla movies coming out within the next year. Uh, like there's the recent stuff I had mentioned about Netflix, getting distribution rights to Kamen Rider, and that's just the monster side of it. As far as the video game side, due to this, like most of that's it's less okay. So it's less video game and more just independent creator based, because there was the big thing that shook the industry recently is how successful uh, uh, Iron Lung, Backrooms, Obsession were, because those are YouTube creations. Those are like YouTube creators making movies for an audience, and they did wonderful. So I think studios are now seeing, whoa, we can, if we give it to the right people, we can just make a movie with just the bare minimum budget. I think that's going to be the move. And like, so there's going to be a mix of all these smaller impassioned YouTube projects, and then studios are going to like find like one or two major projects instead of just shitting stuff out for the theater to try and get their quick buck. And just like, yeah, y'all do what you want, just like give us a number that's yours, do your thing, I don't care, we're going to focus on this. Like, that's what I see as the future of a lot of these studios. Like, I think Warner Brothers and fucking Sony is, I think, I they don't have the best track record, but they've already made a lot of
No,
moves to. I think they read the room more accurately than other folks. Unfortunately for other studios, because then there's going to be another wave of just Sony mishandling IPs that people should have got a long ass time ago. Who's ready for that?
No.
No, it's gonna happen. Oh, yeah. Anyway, next trailer I want to talk about a little bit is Avatar Seven Havens. It looks good. Looks like Avatar. People who wanted to complain like, oh, but it's a little girl who's with a crutch and what, like, who cares?
Shut up.
Animation looks, I guess, sharper and more. I don't know. Sharper isn't the word I'd use. It looks more stylized. You can't. The still frames look good, look like Avatar, but the way they're animated with some of these bigger landscape scenes look more stylized than the previous two seasons. So I don't know. It looks good. I haven't watched Korra yet. I know. I just I'm losing my touch with the Avatar community, but like this, it looks good. I have no problems with how this trailer came out. I mean, what do you think, Griffin? Just
Yeah.
just It's
Yeah. I know that's two things in a row where I've basically had nothing to say. I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay. I know you'll have more things to say about Resident Evil.
No, you didn't say it right.
Resident Evil. No, I said it right.
No, 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 no. Resident Evil.
No, that's the video game, Stilly. This is the movie. No.
Look, it's a vocal stem, okay?
That's okay. No, so I did complain when I talked about the first trailer a bit ago. I kind of said my chief complaint was it didn't look like a Resident Evil movie. Rather, it looked more maybe like old school Evil Dead or like that like old school zombie movie. It's something a little more like subtle and just horror themed. Uh,
Right.
but this trailer though, no, everything from just how the character looks at their surroundings, how the enemies move, where they are, and not even because the end they confirm he's going to the outskirts of Raccoon City. It's just the progression and how he treats it, the clear like character motivation. Like I am a casual when it comes to Resident Evil, but I am still aware that there is a very clear cut story with these, and things are pretty. As far as character motivation, there is a clear progression in where the character starts, what their goal is, and how more capable they become. And I get the vibe of that in this trailer. Like with my minimal understanding, I see this trailer like, okay, this actually looks like a Resident Evil movie. But again, I haven't played the game, so what I say means nothing. What do you think, Griffin?
That's more or less what I was going to say. Like, I wasn't necessarily wowed by that first trailer, but with this trailer, I'm like, oh, wow, this actually does kind of resemble Resident Evil more. You got the guy fumbling around a place looking for items. He finds a gun, a random box of ammo, which, by the way, is taken directly from Resident Evil 4. There's a random typewriter in the room so he can save his progress.
Yeah,
Now all we need are the complicated puzzles.
yeah. That's gonna be in the sewer with the fat guy. I don't know. How much you want to
But
bet that the cooler he has is locked, and one of the main puzzles is him trying to like find clues to open it because there's a conspiracy about it. Because since when does
it's Resident Evil. Of course there's a conspiracy.
because I mean it's clearly just a human heart. Umbrella wouldn't
Hmm.
lie to us.
No, not at all. It's just a regular human heart. Also, why is there a big T on the side of this bag
Don't
box thing?
worry about it. Just a human heart, man. Now transport it to Raccoon City, and if you survive, you'll get your money.
And nothing can go wrong.
Yeah,
Oh no, it all went wrong.
yeah. That's uh, now you did mention like another complaint a while ago about the title. Like,
If they had just like, I don't know, put some kind of goofy subtitle under it, like Resident Evil Outskirts or whatever, I feel like most Resident Evil fans would probably have had a better reaction to it. But just calling it Resident Evil comes with a lot of expectations to it.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think I do agree with that. But the modern age, everyone has to start with doing their own film franchises. So you got to start a series. You got to start all these epic universes. So I wonder if this is just the start of like the Raccoon City Chronicles or some shit. And there's going to be a sequel to this that actually does follow some of the stories of the games with like Leon Kennedy and all these other people.
We can hope. This is probably the most excited I've been for a Resident Evil movie. And yes, I know that's a very, very, very low bar. The animated ones are good.
What if there's a liquor brain in the cooler?
Liquors. Why did it have to be liquors?
I don't know enough about Resident Evil lore to know if that's even possible or if that's even like or if I'm about to be actually by someone who knows the series inside and out.
Either way, we should move on before my PTSD intensifies.
No, we'll not move on. Let your PTSD intensify. Nemesis is coming.
Is he?
Oh, anyway, now here's a fun little
Like,
trailer. We're going to talk about Batman villains. Clayface.
this'll definitely make for a good Halloween movie.
Oh, I am so hyped for this. You do not even believe. So okay, so there was the new trailer. In the last time we talked about the trailer, we mentioned I mentioned that I wanted this movie to incorporate the initial backstory from Batman the animated series, but I also noticed like some clown imagery and there. I wanted them to kind of incorporate the backstory of Clayface from the Batman, like the animated the Batman from the early 2000s. I recently binged that entire series. I don't know if people have watched it, but Clayface's backstory in the Batman is honestly one of the best storylines in that entire show. Like it, so it I won't go into too detail. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say that it's not just an actor, it's someone else, and Joker had a bigger hand in his creation than previous, and it's almost mixing a Two-Face like thing with it's hard to explain. But I was hoping that they kind of like pulled like the best parts of that with the Batman animated series thing. But with this new trailer, it seems that they are just going with the Batman the animated series backstory, which is totally fine. It's a great backstory for a great villain. Like I'm excited to see it on big screen, especially because this movie is not going to be shy about the fact that at some point, maybe multiple points, we are going to see Clayface in his monstrous form and just doing horrible things and transforming into different people and just like going. We're going to see the monster Clayface. So I am excited to see like this character study of just a villain as he becomes the villain we know him as.
I am too. And to bring up another point I mentioned earlier, if anyone here remembers that, I hope that this movie leads to filmmakers realizing, maybe we can do more adaptations of the more out there Batman villains,
Killer Croc,
like
Killer Croc.
like Mr. Freeze or Man Bat. Hell, maybe even an actual roided out version of Bane.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like the Dark Knight Rises version of Bane. But just imagine for a moment. And
Imagine a
yes,
guy three.
huh?
Imagine a guy 3 times your size. It's going to pick you up and just snap you like a twig.
Ugh. And yes, I do agree with you about Killer Croc. But what about Suicide Squad? An actual Killer Croc.
Also, unrelated, but the Batman is like the animated show from the 2000s. Great series. The usual thing with its villains is there's. I figured out that I usually like the villains, except for like one detail. Like with Killer Croc, I love the design of Killer Croc. I love his mentality. I just wish he had that more tragic edge that we see in like the Arkham games. How it's someone that does have a slight deformity, and he just kind of like through his own just bad decisions made it worse, and he's like living with the consequences as opposed to just he's a crocodile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know like the he's a crocodile works if something like Batman Brave and the Bold that's just Silver Age cartoony bullshit. But if you're
Like,
gonna bring him into like a movie like this, like I want this to work well so we can do that. Like the but the other thing about this trailer and something that we have to speculate on, this is going to be in the DCEU. Will we see Batman?
I mean, we might get a reference to Batman, like they did with the Joker movie.
Well, well, no, Trey, like this isn't like so like this is confirmed. This is like an important movie that's going to be canon with like the Superman and Supergirl movies. There's a reason they're doing Clayface before, like they're going to do a
Hmm,
Batman movie.
I understand that.
What I'm asking is, will we see Batman? Will we see a glimpse of the costume?
That I hmm. It'd be nice. You know?
So what if everything is told from Clayface's perspective, and we do see like that other girl who basically like accidentally did the thing and whatnot. What if she's basically trying to talk him out of it, and at some point he's like, "No, listen, like we can fix you, but you gotta like get out of this. If you go down this right, you are going down a crazy route, and you're gonna have to tangle with some crazy people that are no that I don't know if you're in a proper mental state to deal with because they could figure you out and deal with you more than you can. It's like, oh, I could deal with it, and then just Batman comes in and does the Batman thing and just disposes of him.
If they do that, I hope like if there are multiple times that they do it, the first time should be he's completely hidden in shadows and just looks monstrous.
Yeah, what if the first time you basically just see his silhouette of where like the transformation took place as he's like piecing together clues, like we see it from Hagen's perspective as he's like, what's he doing in there? Like as we see in the background Batman learning who this guy is, what he's doing, and what he's capable of. Like we see in the background Batman forming the plan, and then the climax is when Clayface loses himself and just goes full monster. That's when Batman reveals himself and just the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One.
Yeah.
What if we basically get something like that, but Batman?
Oh, dude.
That's what I'm picturing. It's like, how awesome would that be? And like that's what this movie is, to show that like these supervillains exist, and yeah, Batman can deal with them. All right, now let's do our Batman movie. What that's because like that's one thing. Like there has to be like establishing something with this. Like the Supergirl movie was meant to establish that Lobo and bounty hunters were a thing in that universe, and a lead into Man of Tomorrow. Like there was a reason for Supergirl. I know I haven't seen it yet. I know like it wasn't exactly the best reception, but I am just aware of what his purpose was. So this must have some greater purpose in the DCEU, and the only thing I can think of that makes sense is either Batman or this is going to be a bit out there, but Legion of Doom.
Hmm.
But even that, but that's a stretch to me, you know.
And watch you be right.
If it is Legion of Doom, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's awesome. Also, what? And this is someone who does want to see like an actual like Legion of Doom headquarters, similar to like old school Justice League. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I am excited as hell for Clayface. What do you think?
I'm excited too.
Wait,
See, studios can make good movies about villains.
no, no, I know they can, and I know to touch on a little bit about the
Hey.
Mister Freeze thing. I don't doubt that they can make something good with Mister Freeze. I just question like like why tie it to that movie that's more subtle and noir, like more of a detective tone, if that's the route that's going. Batman stories usually have a gradual escalation, and he deals with villains like Victor Zsasz and Penguin, and then before he deals with the big threats like Bane, Clayface, Mister Freeze, and all them. Like he just has this constant escalation of threat that he has to learn to figure out. You know what I mean?
Uh,
That's my critique. And like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm just I say this. I want both of these movies to succeed. I want them both to be good. I just I don't know. I hesitate a little bit with the imagery tied to the Batman Part Two. So anyway, but the next trailer we have here, and technically the last trailer is of course the one that I. Oh, now we're gonna bring back that Marvel discussion. Avengers: Doomsday.
Doom. Nuff said.
Yeah, Doom just blocking Thor with two fingers like a freaking boss.
you thought Thanos was bad. Doom.
So there's gonna be another like okay. We know they've done the two-part Avengers movies before with Doomsday and like they did Doomsday and Secret War. We know that Doomsday and Secret War are going to follow a similar pattern as um, Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
So this movie Doomsday is going to have probably some kick-ass battle scenes, but in the grand scheme of things, this is going to be setting up conflict, which is probably why there's no other movie between now and then. But this is going to lead directly into Secret War. So like that, and of course the new Spider-Man movie is probably going to be telling the story of the Defenders and what the street level heroes are going to be. That's why I'm very, very excited. I will be talking about that next podcast. We're seeing it this weekend.
Huzzah!
But so knowing that, um, I'm not expecting like big bombastic scenes. There's gonna be a lot of people, but there's a lot of little things in this trailer that just like, holy fuck, Loki's back. Holy fuck, why is Loki back? Why is Loki here? Why isn't he holding together the Yggdrasil tree?
There's a simple explanation for that.
And then we see the Fantastic Four, which I am very glad to see. My opinion on that last Fantastic Four movie is this is the definitive Fantastic Four.
Again, about time.
And
Do you realize how surreal it is to finally see the Avengers and the Fantastic Four together? They even brought along the Avengers.
No, the surreal thought is going to be what I think they're leading up to in Secret War. So there is a Secret War storyline in the comics that a lot of people are. I think it'll be confirmed in December, but a lot of people are speculating that what they're leading towards is that there's basically like think of like a Doom at one storyline combines universes together to effectively make a utopia of like the
Battle.
best the battle world. Yeah. So they think Secret War is just going to be the ultimate crossover movie in Battle World of Doom and leading an army of just all of the worst villains. And maybe even some like evil variants of MCU heroes against just everything. That is, to me, that makes sense, and it also to me the only thing you can do to properly uh, escalate from the Avengers Assemble scene in Endgame. A multiversal Avengers Assemble against Doctor Doom and his forces is literally the only thing you could do. So, again, it's all speculation, and we'll know for sure in December. But I'm also thinking that's probably the direction they're going. Like, imagine if we do see like if they basically have all actors pulling double duty, and you have like Captain America fighting an evil version of himself as Captain Hydra. Imagine they have to fight Thanos again, and like Thor gets PTSD.
Not again. Well, hopefully he goes for the head. I only have one question, though. Why was Thor crying?
I love that Hall H in the interview with Deadpool. So
Freaking denim suit.
So like, is Deadpool going to be in Doomsday? Because so that was a scripted thing, right?
Probably.
Which then begs the question: is Deadpool going to be at least teased in Doomsday? And because I wonder if he's going to be in the after credits scene or if he's going to be in Spider-Man, and like he's basically going to be buddy cop with Spider-Man in the entirety of Secret War.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
There's so much possibility with Deadpool, like, but uh, who knows what they're going to do? We're going to know come December what the series is kind of leading up to. Um, I'm gonna give all of these last three Marvel movies. Well, I say last three, but Spider-Man, Doomsday, and Secret War. I'm going to give them a fair chance. I want them to be good. As far as the movies after, I am going to treat them as their own thing, not connected to this universe. Because, yeah, I don't want them to. I, I don't know, just kind of continuing on with X-Men after fucking Battle World. I feel there's going to be I feel a reset's coming, you know?
Probably to some extent.
So I don't think they're going to go so far as to reset it and make a new Captain America, but I do think that they're going to reset to the point where all of these other movies coming out, of course, except for Black Panther 3, but I think the X-Men are going to be in a separate universe, but if they're going to exist in a same where, hey, if they could be pulled with an MCU for other crossover shenanigans at any time. But I could be wrong. There's speculation Jean Grey is in Spider-Man No Way Home or Far From Home or whatever the fuck it is. Brand New Day. That's it. I don't know. MCU's weird. I think like the other thing is if they want this to be as big as I think they do want it to be big, no matter what, this movie is going to lose money. Not this Secret War. And I think they know that, you know?
I have my doubts.
Like, well, okay, let me say this. I don't think it's going to be the big blockbuster multi-billion dollar profit maker. I think they're going to put so much money into it that when it does get these huge box office numbers, it's it's going to make up for the cost and give them enough profit to say they did the right thing. That's what I think is going to happen. It's not that the movie isn't going to make money. It's just that the cost of making these movies and getting them to where they is going to offset the profit by more than what they want.
Hey, $1 billion is still $1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion is $1 billion, but when the budget to make the movie is $700 million, that's what I'm saying, man. Like I said, I'm not saying these movies aren't going to be good.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, between the marketing and all the other stuff, they're going to be fine.
No. Again, I'm not saying these movies are going to be bad. I'm not saying they're going to lose
I'm
money.
not saying that either.
When I say they know that, I think that they know that in the long term that there's going to be like some articles going, oh, it's not a big profit, but Disney's like, we know, we're just trying to like earn some goodwill and give you these three kick-ass movies at the potential detriment of our wallet because of how much goodwill they've lost over the past few years in the Marvel world. And especially now that they have to compete with DC, you know?
Well, I could make arguments about that as well, but we simply don't have the time.
That's all right. Because now it's time to talk about new and recent films. There's one film
Here
I
we
know we
go.
both saw, and one film that only I know I saw. So before we get to the big one, is there any other thing you saw recently?
I haven't seen any films aside from the obvious one, but I have been watching the newest season of King of the Hill.
Yeah. 2 episodes in with you, baby.
I mean, I might have watched a little further ahead.
How dare you?
Hey, Sarah gave me permission last season, so I'm under the assumption that it'll be no different here.
I don't have Hulu and I can't watch ahead. How dare you?
But anyways, the last season was great so far. I feel like this season is better. They really pulled out all the stops for it, and also it's really funny. Like Dale is somehow funnier in this season than the last one so far.
I've only seen the first two episodes, and I do think season two of this current season, or episode two of this current season, is better than any of the episodes in the last season. But it also hit an emotional core that I relate to. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to hit a lot of people. But actually, it's that, and um, I there's another thing I saw someone talk about that episode that I didn't think about. Episode two is, unlike the other episodes, actually had everyone in constant close proximity. So the A and the B plot kind of wove to get around each other organically. Versus in season one, where you had Bobby in Dallas and Hank on Rainy Street, and it felt like you're cutting to a different show sometimes, you know.
Yes.
So episode two, everything felt just woven together and organic, and the two plots kind of inform the other in some way. So I don't know. This season episode two of season what 16 is it?
Season 15.
15 is what we're on. Yeah, episode two, season 15 is so far my favorite of the revival. It's a really good episode. But yeah, before we get to the big movie, I did see another movie. I shared it over on Discord. The Backrooms that I mentioned. It is very good. It is a very good horror movie. I respect the shit out of it because it committed to what the Backrooms is. All this weird, surreal imagery, that the set work and costume design that went into this movie. Kudos, top fucking notch.
Very nice.
It is a horror movie, but it's a slow burn kind of horror where it's not like you're being like chased by a slasher per se. It's kind of revealed. You kind of it gets kind of revealed in the trailer. There is an entity, but I don't want to say anything more than that because it is a huge, what the entity is a massive spoiler, and it does relate to the character side of it. So yeah, and I respect the hell out of this movie. I think everyone should see it once. Like it's good. Like I thought it was good. I'm happy I saw it. I respect it even more than I like it. But the other thing I saw with Gryphon is the Odyssey.
Ah, yes, the big flop that is the Odyssey.
It's not a flop. It's gonna do great.
It's doing fantastic.
This is its
And
second
also, the
week.
movie's fantastic.
Yeah, it's on its second week, and we still had an almost packed house. This is one of Christopher Nolan's best movies. Period. Like I've done some more thinking about it since then, and yeah, no, any problem I have with this movie, I have to really think about it, and even then, it's more of a nitpick.
Like the sound.
Sound. I did mention to you after the movie. While I didn't have a problem with it, I could see some people having a problem with the pacing, and because I did recognize that it goes through a huge chunk of the Odyssey. It goes through a lot of the chunk of the Odyssey, and including all the little stories like the sirens and including things that you may not expect them to actually touch on, and they do in gory detail. But there's some scenes that I think overstayed their welcome, and so, not by much. Maybe just like, did we have to stay here for this long? Because this probably could have been cut down by like a minute. And like some scenes that are just like were cut way too short. Just like, whoa, look at this big action scene. We're gonna fight this, and it's gone. Huh? Okay. Again, like some. So it didn't bother me a lot, and in no instance is it enough to ruin the movie. But I could see some people having like problems with the pacing, which is then compounded by the fact of that they did a storytelling choice that I liked a lot, but not a lot of people would. Because this isn't a this isn't a spoiler because the trailers already kind of made this clear. But the story is told in a very similar way as the book. How it's you are told pieces of information through the memory of Odysseus and through stories told to his son. It is both of those things. There's like all these stories going on that are like converging into the climax at the end. So if you can understand that going into it, I think you'll have a great time. Any people complaining about that pacing, I think that was their biggest problem. They weren't able to kind of some teams may not have like lasted as long as they wanted. Some things may not have been structured properly. Like I get people having that gripe, but all in all, fantastic fucking movie.
I mean, I know this word gets overused a lot, but it is absolutely warranted to say that this movie is epic.
Oh yeah, it is. It is an epic. It has to be. Like there's not a lot of stories in the world that it can be described as an epic. Like I think Odyssey and the Iliad are like the two best examples of that. There's nothing in the only thing I would argue epic is One Piece, but that's neither here nor there. But but this is definitely a 3 hour movie adaptation of an epic. And if you see the trailer and you think it's just going to be a bunch of dudes in armor and there's going to be stuff you don't, no, there's more here than
It, it's not just swords and sandals and fights. There is a story, an experience.
yeah. There is monsters. There is the magic. There is gods. There's one scene that's just like I wasn't expecting to be as grotesque as it was.
Ugh, yep, and you'll know it when you see it. I, I really don't want to say too much about it. It's you just have to go see it for yourselves.
It's okay. It's the out of context spoiler. Clayface.
Yeah, no, that works.
And everyone who knows the Odyssey and it's like the fuck is he talking about? He'll say.
Oh, you'll know.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And if you can see it in IMAX, do. But if you can see it in theaters, if you can't see it in IMAX, still go. It is worth a trip to the theater. Like
It is worth the full admission price.
yes, this is a movie that like needs to be seen on as large a screen as possible. I I don't know what else to say to hype it up. I love Greek mythology, so I'm already like predisposed to love this movie. But even with that, oh, also, one thing I will say, John Leguizamo fucking killed it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, he is an actor that I'm sure growing up in the '90s we all attribute to just this jokey guy. But then he plays like what he did here. He plays his his character in John Wick, and we remember, oh yeah, he's a he is a classically trained actor, and he knows how to do these roles. Fuck. Also, one of the first things his character does in the movie is going to catch a lot of people off guard.
Hey.
It did me. But weird thing is, he was blind. So he's probably like maybe so fucked up if he actually thought it wasn't what he thought it was. Again, I don't want to say more than that, but like, damn. I swear I heard even other people around us like as soon as he did it, some people were like, wait, what? It's worth a watch. Anyway, I don't want to linger too much on this because we're already just about at the 2 hour mark here, and I want to get to our main topic, which won't be a long main topic, but dream movie crossover. We each present like an idea for a movie crossover that could be made today. Maybe would have worked better at a certain time recently, but is still in some reality very possible and very likely. Um, I'm just gonna tell you right now, the one I have in mind is not Godzilla versus Gamera. That felt too obvious. So before I get to mine, I want to get to yours, Gryphon.
Very well. So, my proposal, let me set the scene for you. Another night has turned to tragedy as a group of young men and women are brutally killed by the supernatural butcher known as Freddy Krueger.
Hmm.
You weren't expecting me to go Nightmare on Elm Street, were you?
No, but
But,
continue.
but, hmm. But you see, this night, fate has other plans. People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, the crow can bring the soul back to put the wrong things right. So now one of the slain sets out to find and destroy Freddy, forever ridding the world of his evil. In The Crow, Elm Street.
The Crow on Elm Street.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It's an idea I've had lingering in my head for a while because I have this friend of mine who she loves Nightmare on Elm Street. And I want to say I first met her around the time I was getting into the Crow franchise. So, in my head, I'm thinking, supernatural characters. I think this could work. And it also gives them an opportunity to touch on a character that isn't really brought up in most Crow media, the Skull Cowboy.
What?
Exactly. Now, it's kind of like a spirit guide character featured in the original comics who basically has to tell Eric why he was brought back, what he's doing, and to stay on task. They they also brought him back in the Crow TV series, Stairway to Heaven, though very different. And the newer Crow movie sort of has a character like that, but they don't call him the Skull Cowboy.
Call him the Bone Ranger. I'm sorry.
No, but the point is, I feel like working him into this story makes sense because he would just be like, This Freddy Krueger is an evil unlike we've never seen before and cannot be allowed to exist in this world. Only you can stop him.
Yeah.
And I know we've already had a pretty big story with Freddy Krueger fighting another supernatural entity that can't die very easily. But the difference is the crow can answer back.
Yeah. True. I mean, I've heard weirder crossovers. Hell, I've seen weirder crossovers with Freddy. You know, it's a fan comic, but did you know that there's a ongoing comic that has Freddy Krueger versus the Power Rangers?
Huh?
Trust me, it gets weird. Um, like how Lord Zed's brain in Jason's body weird, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh my god. Rangers, you must not fall asleep if you are to defeat Freddy Krueger. Ay, 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 ay.
Vulcan Skull or Dream Warriors weird.
Oh, oh, oh. I kind of want to read this now.
But it is no, I've heard of weirder crossovers, dude. No, I think this has, I think it could work. Like, do you just because this is gonna be a thing with mine? Like, I think the best time to do this was long past, but if we do it now, it'd be very different. But was there a time that this probably would work best?
Um, that's the thing. Let me look up when the Nightmare on Elm Street movies were at their peak.
Yeah.
Because, so about mid to late 80s.
Mid to late 80s.
And and then Wes Craven's New Nightmare came out in 1994, a year after the Brandon Lee Crow movie. So I figure that kind of time period would work best for that.
Okay. Maybe there's like an alternate universe where a certain tragedy didn't befall a certain actor. Maybe get that person in Robert Englund.
Well, I don't know about reusing him specifically because, and this is going to expose maybe several Crow fans out there, but it's not just Eric Draven's story. Crow stories can be told using anyone of any gender, race, or time period, really.
Okay.
So the possibilities are quite literally endless. I can't speak as much for the Nightmare on Elm Street series since those stories always seem to be told in the current year in which they're made.
Yeah. The good thing about Nightmare on Elm Street is they can be told at any time, considering it's in the realm of dreams, and Freddy Krueger is just kind of this eternal thing. That's why it's like to try to be rebooted. That's to questionable success, but
yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
That's a whole other can of worms. But Freddy Krueger is, both of those franchises are pretty like, yeah, you could get away with doing those at really any time. Yeah.
But just imagine you get a really good actor to play the Crow against Robert Englund in his prime. My goodness.
Hell, so take
Actually,
it to
you know
another
what?
level.
Do you know who Mark Dacascos is?
Mark Dacascos?
Yeah. He played Eric Draven in the Crow TV series, The Crow Stairway to Heaven. And most people probably know him better
Oh, the
as
freaking Iron
the
Chef
host of
dude.
Iron. Yep, absolutely, Iron Chef. If they would have put him as the character, that would have been great.
Yeah, the best part is in the dream world, and the crows there with them. Like that's have more control than Freddy at times. Where the entire dream world just kind of looks like that weird distorted city like you got in the first Crow movie.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of fun potential for imagery there. I could see it. I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as for mine, I didn't do Godzilla vs. Gamera. It felt too obvious. I think everyone knows I want it. There's another franchise, two franchises that need more love. In my dream reality, everything past the second movie in both of these franchises did not happen.
He's pounding the table, so you know he's serious.
It really only affects one of them, but no, it affects both. One of them has two movies and a short-lived series, and the one has a few movies and a short-lived series. But do I play them? I don't want to mess with. How do I? I'm trying to think if there's a good way for me to do a dramatic reveal, or if I should just come out and say it.
I mean, if you got something, go for it.
Well, no. Well, I'll just reveal one. All right. In my dream reality, everything past Critters 3 didn't happen.
I think I know where this is going.
You probably do. So, for those who know the film history of Critters 3, you know that they basically got enough budget to make one movie, but were told to make two. That's why Critters 3 and Critters 4 look like shit. I like Critters 3, but I know it looks like shit. But so what if during that, because this was at a time in the early 90s where you had two people who liked working with whoever the fuck and they just never met each other, and there is a reality where they met and maybe there's like a deal where a second director is like, hey, no, what if he just put all that in this one movie, and whatever he doesn't use, you give me the money to make another movie in my series where they do a thing. And considering how big this other person is and the amount of studio backing he would have with a big name director, they'd probably say yes. So Critters 3 mostly, for this dream reality, Critters 3 mostly stays the same. The only two differences is, of course, slightly higher effects. But at the end of Critters 3, we know that Charlie ends up putting the last Krite eggs in a container to send out into space. Normally, it didn't normally end in a cliffhanger, but now this, and in reality, he goes through the cliffhanger. It doesn't. It's not a cliffhanger. He goes through the full process. He puts them out, and he just sends them out, and gets his word from his good buddy Ugg, who doesn't turn evil. God, that's a stupid storyline. But it just gets a word that, all right, that's it. That's the last of them. I'm not doing anything else. Just send them out. We'll take care of them. And for a while, the franchise ends there. But in a weird little after credit scene, you kind of see the thing going out into space, and then it starts to approach a satellite with Clamp Industries on it. You know where I'm going with this now, don't you?
Yep.
I want tiny terrors to cross over, damn it. No one ever crosses everyone crosses over everything but tiny terrors. I want gremlins and critters to cross over. It would have worked.
We want the fur to fly. Think of all the merchandise.
It would have worked. And the best part is you could have gotten the same actors. Like you could have gotten imagine Charlie accidentally dropping water on Gizmo because he's that much of a putz.
Yeah.
It writes itself. Like the scenario I imagined in my head is like after the pod crashed into Clamp Industries or the crashed into the satellite. By the time it got up there and crashed, Ugg had already kind of like got paid and ignored it, and the weird society galactic federation that he was apparently reported to that hired him because he's a bounty hunter, not a long time. Like got wind of that and started to be in communication with Clamp about that. Like imagine the movie opens up with what was the name? Robert Clamp, the guy who owns it in Gremlins 2. And I know
Daniel.
Daniel Clamp. Okay, Daniel Clamp. Basically, I just starts like he's at a site, and we're basically the crash site where the pod crashed into the satellite, and they all just kind of melded with each other, careened down to Earth. And like has a little side dialogue because this would be a few years after Gremlins 2, just about how like it's like just about how basically to give the exposition that like they're basically moving away from being a media conglomerate ever since the stuff with the Gremlins became public and moving more into like research, like basically putting more money in their research division so they could kind of get away from the public eye and focus on money that can actually help people and understand these weird little creatures that apparently exist. So and like a movie would start with there, and he picks up a weird little communicator that the Critters fans know is basically how Charlie and Ugg talk to the Federation, but from there you just get the holographic Gremlins versus Critters, but it kind of cuts off there. And it gets even better because if you had this in like '95 or something, you could just use the as a time skip. I was literally like I don't want to put too much time into this, but I literally spent the last week like I'm pretty sure if I put pen to paper, I could write a fucking screenplay right now.
Call us Hollywood. We got ideas.
Like, and I know on paper some would say it wouldn't work because Critters seeming more horror adjacent and Gremlins are more comedy adjacent. Bullshit. Watch Critters 1 and Critters 2 again. Yes, Critters are more capable of just like more horrible, darker things. But if you watch Critters 1 and Critters 2, tell me that those aren't comedies in any capacity, you're lying.
Wikipedia literally calls it science fiction comedy horror film.
Yeah. It says Gremlins is a little more comedy, Critters is a little more horror. That's it. One's a little more of one than the other. They're both comedy, they're both sci fi horror.
It could work.
And they also follow the exact same formula where basically Critters 1 and Critters are not comedies, and I'm not a beta. You are lying. You are lying. But yeah, watch the first two Gremlins movies. Watch the first two Critters movies. They actually both have this thing in common that kind of started this mindset, where Gremlins 1 is a lot more horror than you remember, whereas Gremlins 2 pure comedy. Critters 1 a lot more horror than you remember. Critters 2 pure fucking comedy.
Yeah.
Like it is such a
Funny
weird. Yeah, like if I had a nickel for every time I had a tiny terror movie that started out with more horror elements and gradually got more comedic as time went on, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
It happened twice.
Yeah, just imagine scenarios where like the bounty hunters come and like the critters are winning because like the scenario I thought about is Clamp basically contained the critters there, and the Galactic Federation's like, I tell you what, we'll tell you how to keep them there as long as you keep them there and keep them contained, because we don't want to fucking deal with it, and you don't have space travel yet, so we're basically exiling them to that planet. So like I
Good
like
luck.
yeah like and Clamp's just like, hey, free research, and hell, considering his track record, it would probably work for a while because look, Clamp Industries was a successful company and a successful media empire until the Gremlins showed up. His research division was top notch and figured out gene splicing until the Gremlins showed up. So it is very plausible in the weird sci-fi bullshit kind of way to say that with alien help he would be able to contain Kreitz until the Gremlins showed up. And as for the obvious thing about how critters don't reproduce as fast as gremlins, so it's an easy dub for the gremlins. Yeah, okay. Two things. One, if they're contained first, then you could have the weird corporate bullshit where they actually were where yeah, the critters were reproducing, but they just knocked them. Maybe like they knocked them out and took the eggs, and they're like, we are totally disposing of them, but they're not. That there's a one way they can go. But also, even not that, Krites reproduce faster than we like to remember. In Critters 2, it went from 12 Krites to hundreds in less than 24 hours. You don't need a lot of time to have the Krites number in the hundreds. You just have to give them that little bit of a head start. So they start overpowering the gremlins, and then you just do some shit where the gremlins completely overpower them, and then it becomes a more even fight. And just imagine the cartoony shenanigans. Imagine if a gremlin gets a hold of one of the bounty hunter's guns. Like imagine a scenario where like basically like gremlins and Krites are fighting, and like bounty hunter shows up, and like all the Krites are just like freaking out, like oh no, and the gremlins are like, what are y'all freaking out about? It's just this guy. And they did like all the Krites are doing like the cartoonish thing with from Critters 2, where they're actually going like bug eyed, basically to replicate like their eyes popping out, like oh god, like what's that? And just all the Krites are doing it. One gremlin's just like, what is this? What is this guy? Why are you scared of this guy? Obliterates him with one shot from his gun, and then after a brief pause, all of the gremlins and Krites are now doing it, just just running away from the bounty hunters. The potential for horror comedy here is off the fucking charts. The best time to do this would be the early 90s so you could bring back characters, but you could still have it now with the right people. Um, just imagine fucking Charlie's reaction to Gizmo. It's like, this is that a freaking Krite? Like, no, this is a Mogwai. The fuck's a Mogwai?
God, what would a gremlin Krite hybrid be like?
I don't know, but even that's on the table because Clamp did genetic modification. And imagine like a gremlin like Stripe, like how in Gremlins 2 he has like all the spikes along his back. But imagine with the if he like gets like gene spliced with a Krite, and he basically gets all that hair can roll into a ball, and all those thick spikes can shoot out. So you have a gremlin that's now it has a mouth literally full of teeth, red eyes, is bigger than other gremlins, is covered in hair, can roll into a ball and just speed along and just fucking mock whatever the fuck. Sonic the Gremlin Hog. Again, like it's like Batman and Ninja Turtles. You think like, man, can those really cross over? But then you think just how similar they weirdly are under the surface. Man, that would fucking work. Why haven't we done this?
I don't know.
I want to see things that are
Money.
like low key fucked up. I want to see a horror comedy that has a few things that are low key fucked up. Like I like how the Krites see the gremlins and their ability to reproduce, like and how they just kind of do budding and shit. And their first reaction is just look at each other and go, "Infinite meat," and just try to take one. I'm sorry, like this thought of this of the potential of just all the puppets, and plus, hey, you could do a hook that combines the Gremlins theme with Power of the Night, and hell, you could have the entire thing in a clamp research facility in the middle of nowhere, and then everyone's just like, all right, just let the Krites win, and we'll blow up the building, and then I was like, no, that's a stupid idea because the explosion won't kill all of them, and like have a weird thing where basically every time I think of this scenario, the bounty hunters would side with the gremlins enough to kill the Krites, and then like they just blow up the building and let the sunlight kill the gremlins. That's like the best scenario I could think of for this. And I'm only thinking that because I just imagine a scene where like Ugg or Charlie they end up saving one of the gremlins, and they just willingly hand a gremlin a small version of their guns after saving him, and they just both do this fucking. You see a gremlin just going, "Kill all Krites." just like the bounty hunter did the first one. And then when he's just going mad with power, he just turns around and just shoots the gremlin and walks away. Just oh, I need this to exist on such a deep level you don't understand. Hell, you could cross over gremlins with a lot of stuff and it would make sense. Like gremlins and I don't know, killer clowns from outer space.
Let's see. Gremlins and I don't know. Ninja Turtles.
Ooh, gremlins in the Terrordrome or Technodrome.
Oh God.
What would happen
You
if
really want to give them that much power?
what would happen if you gave a gremlin ooze?
Um, Basically the spider gremlin, but way bigger and uglier.
Yeah,
But really, any combination of gremlin and whatever genetic material they happen to have at the time.
honestly, like, I do want to see just gremlins and critters, but the bigger point is you can cross over gremlins with a lot of stuff because of how that little meta edge they have. Like you could anything that is a technological entity to some degree, or, as long as it's not completely devoid of technology, you could cross over gremlins with it. Like you couldn't like a crossover say with like a gremlins and wishmaster wouldn't hold a lot of water, you know? But like
No.
say you have like gremlins and fucking predator. Weird amount of potential, right?
Right.
Like, Like
That sounds like a freaking comic crossover that should happen.
like granted, it would derail it to a comedy, but that's also why I think Gremlins Critters works best, because they're both already kind of horror comedies, and Clamp Industries would serve as the pseudo uh, anti-technology slash reason for containing Krites. Like it just it fits so fucking well. Hell, who's the actor that Joe Dante likes to cameo in all of his movies? He was in the Gremlins movies. He was in Chopping Mall.
Uh, Dick Miller,
Dick Miller. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Honestly, all you have to do, like, if you go with the idea that there's like a research facility in the middle of nowhere, just you could get the Dick Miller cameo out of the way real quick by just giving he gives a ride to oh gosh, what's the name of the guy who basically adopted Gizmo, the kid from the first two movies, the Gremlins movies. I feel like it starts with a
Billy?
D. Billy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's just giving Billy a ride and just have a whole scene where like, hey, thanks for the ride. It's like, hey, no problem, but this is a little too far out for my reach. Like, I'm gonna sit this one out, but you have fun, kid. Just have a little like weird passing comment like that. The potential, like, imagine a Gremlins Critters crossover movie that had the budget and effects of like Gremlins 2 or Jurassic Park. Nut.
Oh.
Imagine just a giant ass lobby, just filled with just gremlins and critters rolling over each other.
Again, the fur will fly.
And yet, and if you think, oh, critters aren't capable of all the zany stuff, they're just a budget. Da, da, da. Watch Critters 2 again. Watch Critters 1 again. They try to talk with an AT doll before they just have a pillow fight.
These things are goofy.
Yeah, they're hungry first, and but then they're very goofy. They're hungry and goofy. They're also not stupid, and but also gremlins I think are smart. And it's not just because of the brain gremlin; it's because of in both Gremlins movies. If you watch them again, the longer a gremlin is alive, as in like look at Stripe and Spike in the first two movies, the more like they have scenes where like they'll piece together what like things that work, things that don't, and just kind of experiment from deadly weapons and shit. I mean, for God's sakes, they got a chainsaw in a fucking toy store in the first movie.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah. But yeah, so we have The Crow versus Freddy Krueger and Gremlins versus Critters is our dream crossovers. It probably says a lot about me and the stupid shit I watch. But I think that'll.
Funny how both of our ideas ended up being horror related.
Yeah, I think horror is just right for crossovers. If I ever do this again, and I do want to do this idea again after a few episodes, maybe with somebody else, but nothing against you. It's just I want as many ideas as possible. But I like crossovers. But
No,
yeah,
I understand.
but for now, I'll close it off there. Um, thank you for joining me, Gryphon. And before we really let you go here, we got to do our, do a look at the wheel. Are you ready to look at the wheel?
I am ready to look at the wheel.
Yeah, so we gotta adjust it ever so slightly. There we go. All right, so carry over from the previous. So we have the Life and Times of Benoit Blanc. That's basically the Knives Out trilogy of movies. We have Popcorn Buckets Are Weird. That's just gonna be an episode where it's kind of like vibe and talk about just the weird rise of novelty popcorn buckets and look at some of the weird ones. I don't quite know the format of how I'm going to do that. I don't know. It's that's funny to talk about. The Brendan Fraser mummy movies, just kind of looking back at what I like about all of those. See if we want to talk about that. The Heisei Gamera trilogy. I thought I did this, but as I look back on the things, I realized I did not do a Gamera episode yet.
Jay.
I did 2 Godzilla episodes, and I didn't do a Gamera episode yet, so it's on the list.
King Kong tier list when?
So we have A Truly Never-Ending Story. This talk about the Never-Ending Story movies, the first one which I hold dear, and how they got progressively worse. But
Oh, we're gonna do it, Chakaron.
yeah, we're doing it. We have A Kick-Ass Pair. That's just kind of talking about Kick-Ass 1 and 2. Great movies. Pretty self-explanatory. Just kind of talking with just how unique they are, both in film and comic. And of course, the Dark Knight trilogy. And it's talking about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies and just how much they become staples of superhero films. And of course, the guest decide. So if it lands on there, Gryphon chooses any one of these 7. And hey, if you want to influence his decision in the comments, just in case it does land, or rather in the chat, I should say, just in case it does land on guest decides, because historically, Gryphon rigs the wheel, so it lands on guest decides for him a lot.
Hey, I only brought in magnets that one time.
Well, and if it lands on here again, when you're here, then you're rigging my wheel.
No, I'm not.
You just admitted to using magnets. They heard it.
Not for that.
So let's spin this wheel, shall we? Oh, okay. It's not rigged.
Told you.
So we're going to talk about the life and times of Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
Knives
That'll be
Out,
fun.
Glass Onion, and Wake Up Dead Man. 3 very good movies that are all on Netflix, all worth a watch. And I'm going to have to renew my Netflix subscription earlier than I thought. But, yeah, I'll talk more.
Yeah.
I'll talk about more of those probably on a later date there. Specifically in 2 weeks, the next podcast recording. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, thank you once again for joining, Gryphon.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.